All right, buddy, what's up tonight, today, this morning, whatever time it is in your part of the world, wherever you're watching this? I just thought I'd make a video about bodybuilders who have torn their biceps. Pretty common injury from the top level all the way down to the average gym goer. The bicep, of course, is everybody's favorite muscle to train, right up there with chest, etc. But also, doing that overtraining, etc., leads to some problems. Can lead to some problems, and some of these guys, probably at all levels, have run into problems from overtraining, etc., or massive weights, whatever. They're just freak accidents. But first guy, Vince Taylor, tore his bicep. I believe his right bicep, and Vince was known as a lighter trainer, high volume guy. So, it's a little surprising. A lot of these guys that tear their biceps are hardcore trainers, doing the heavy weights. But a lot of times it's freak accidents too that tear your biceps. So you could be moving, a refrigerator or something, which I think happened to Lee Priest, I believe. He was moving something for his mom or something and tore his bicep. But Vince Taylor certainly went on to be one of the great Hall of Fame bodybuilders, multiple Masters, Mr. Olympia champion. And speaking of the devil, here's Lee Priest. Now you can see Lee's right bicep looks very strange in these pics. Lee definitely had some issues with that bicep. You can see it there, very peaked out, almost like the outer head or something tore away. But again, that certainly isn't normal. And I read something about Lee having some issues with his biceps, and it was some kind of partial tear or something like that later in his career. The latest guy to tear his bicep, Colin von Moger, kind of a social media guy, famous as being kind of looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and having a lot of followers and potential, that kind of thing. Tore his bicep, I think, performing some kind of weird combo lift or something in the gym. I don't know. It's pretty weird stuff. You might want to read about that. But here he is next to Arnold. You can definitely see a resemblance, not only in the muscle bellies, but the looks as well. It could be Arnold's son. And of course, the greatest, in my opinion, the most famous bicep tear of all time, Mr. Olympia, multiple times, Dorian Yates. That left arm of his took a beating towards the end of his career. I think he tore his tricep. I think he tore the bicep. Obviously, he tore the bicep. He tore his quad. All kinds of injuries for Dorian Yates. Some kind of hip problem, I think. Just was a wreck towards the end of his career. And he got out with another Sandow, but you got to wonder if he did deserve it. Here he is next to Nasser El Sabati. From the front, looks to me like it's all Nasser. Now, I'm a huge Dorian fan. He kind of one of the guys that kind of got me into bodybuilding. But Dorian never had great arms. He was known for his conditioning and his tremendous back, and his presence. They call him Shadow. But his arms were never really on par with the rest of his body, and certainly not his forearms. But nevertheless, I did pull out that last Sandow, that last victory over Nasser and some other guys. Jay Cutler tore his right bicep. Jay had successful surgery, but you can definitely see in these pics there is quite a difference between his biceps. And certainly Jay is one of the most successful bodybuilders of all time as well. But towards the end of their careers, a lot of times these injuries kind of spell the downward spiral for these guys. Tom Platts. Now this was a devastating situation for Tom Platts, is my understanding. Pretty much spelled the end of his career as well. Same as a lot of these other guys. But Tom was a pretty good guy. Kind of got screwed, maybe out of an Olympia title back in '81, I believe. The most controversial Olympia, not the 1980, in my opinion. But nevertheless, you can obviously see the disfiguration in Tom's bicep. Here he is from the front. Quite a difference in arm size, right to left. Casey Viator, of course Frank Zane on the right. Tom had some just incredible thighs. Look at his legs. Holy cow, they're like tree trunks, man. They're just overlapping in the middle. That is insane. That's from some heavy squatting wide. Branch Warren, another guy who tore his bicep. Branch went on, of course, to be a very successful bodybuilder. Didn't have the greatest aesthetics. Power bodybuilder, another guy used heavy weights, high volume. That's a killer picture of Branch right there. Just chiseled in that pic. Talk about a ball of muscle. That was Branch Warren. This is Vince Taylor once again. This is a now picture of Vince Taylor pretty recently. Still looking pretty damn good. You'd be hard pressed to find any issues with Vince Taylor's physique or resemblance or leftover circumstance from a torn bicep. So yeah, just a few guys who have torn their biceps. I'm sure I forgot some guys, and feel free to chime in on the comments. With some guys maybe that you know or remember who tore their biceps. Anyway, common injury, unfortunately, has a devastating effect on some guys. And let's just hope that. And I think a lot of bodybuilders now that train lighter. You see this a lot in videos, and you read about it. These pros don't really train that heavy anymore. They don't use a lot of the big heavy, the barbells and things like that a lot of times. And as for longevity, I can't necessarily blame them. You might sacrifice some thickness, muscle density, but if you can stay in the game longer and make as much money as possible, I mean, you can't really blame them at this point. Anyway, have a good night, have a good day, have a good time, whatever. We'll see you next time.